Hey guys, welcome. I am here today, Kim Beavers, registered dietitian, and I'm here with Lo Bannerman, also a registered dietitian. And she specializes in something called intuitive eating. So Lo is going to explain to us a little bit about what that means. So we'll start off our first question as, what is intuitive eating?
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me here today. So, intuitive eating involves partnering with your body, listening to your body, and really using your own cues to decide when to eat, what to eat, and how much to eat. Most people enter intuitive eating because they're coming from a place of diet culture with a lot of guilt and shame and turmoil in their eating habits. And basically, intuitive eating is just there to help guide people out of that judgmental and tumultuous world and into a more harmonious place with their bodies and both internal and external. So, how they feel in their bodies and what their bodies look like, and the strength that their bodies are able to carry throughout their day.
I love that. I love the word strength because I think that has so many different meanings. And considering that our bodies have strength and power and not being so hard on ourselves and negative, and definitely appreciate intuitive eating from that standpoint and from the standpoint that it's become more popular. So, with that said, can you give us some ideas on how we can kind of start implementing intuitive eating into our lives a little bit?
Definitely, yes. The big thing, the easiest way that I like to explain it is shifting from external cues to internal cues. So, external cues for eating are things that your family and friends are eating, advertisements that we get bombarded with consciously and subconsciously throughout our days, saying things like, oh, it's the weekend, it's a cheat day, it's this celebration, diet fads, all sorts of different things. Basically, everything that's on the outside telling us this is how you should eat, this is when you should eat. Even the clock can be an external cue, or how much you should eat. So, when you go to a restaurant, how big the portions are, how big the plates are, those are all external cues. Shifting from that to internal cues, it's listening to your body, listening to your own innate hunger cues that we're all born with, listening to what feels good to you based on the season, based on the time of day, based on the culture you were raised in, because culture cues can be innate and internal as well as external. So finding that balance there. And then also just flat out listening to what feels good, even if it's not 12 o'clock, but you're ready for lunch, honor that. Or if you've had a really busy day or you need more energy or strength, again, coming back, then honoring that and eating foods that help you tap into that as well
Yeah.
without judgment. That's the biggest thing. It's becoming a non judgmental observer of your body. So once we can figure out the difference between the internal and the external cues, then you can start to dig a little bit deeper and start to think, what am I bringing to the table? Is there emotional baggage that's coming with this food or this meal or this time of day or this eating situation, eating with this particular friend or group or whatnot? Is there a cultural norm that's pushing me one way or another? Is it just the situation and the environment? And just kind of going deeper into those layers. And ultimately, it's asking the question, how do I feel? How does this food make me feel? What am I hungry for? Is it just a hug that I'm searching for? Or is it really this food that's in front of me? And most of us were raised with food being a reward or a punishment, or tying these different memories and associations to certain foods. And that can be a really cool blessing that can guide a lot of traditions and holidays, but it can also be a war zone in a sense where we really struggle between what is my body actually telling me and then what is everything in the world telling me that I've internalized. So it's kind of breaking that apart. But I guess the simple answer is just track how you're feeling. Notice how different foods make you feel. Notice when you feel hungry and how that might vary throughout the day or throughout shifts in your week or in your month or even in the year. You might want warmer foods in winter and lighter foods in summer, or heartier foods when you're working out more, or whatever it might be. So just observing that without judgment.
I really do like the non-judgmental part of it. I don't ever think food and guilt belong in the same space. Um,
Definitely.
but Lo, it sounds like there's like a lot more to it than just saying intuitive eating. Like there's a lot more digging into it to really help people overcome these external cues, because we're so in tune with the external cues for sure. So with that said, I was wondering, like, I'm a dietitian, I work in diabetes, and I can definitely say that we're starting to implement some of those intuitive eating practices, like asking people how they feel, their hunger scale and things like that into practice. But how would a dietitian go about, or another healthcare practitioner go about implementing more of this style of intuitive eating into their practice?
The biggest thing in my mind is that shift again from external to internal, but more globally. So typically we all feel like we have something wrong with us, and we go to an expert, and that expert tells us, here's what's wrong, here's what to do, you'll be fine, bye. Whereas with intuitive eating and intuition in general, we want to switch that external bias inside and start to realize that the answers are within us. We are our own experts in our body. And even as a dietitian, even with any credential in the book, my client knows their body better than I ever will.
Mhm.
And so that's the biggest thing as a dietitian, is to honor that and hold that space and really encourage your clients to look within. So you can be a guide, but they're the leader. They're the main character of their story. They're the ones who have all the answers and have to go through all the things to figure it out. And we're just there guiding them along the way. And so making sure that we keep our role where it needs to be, as opposed to being more prescriptive, is really a way to help our clients feel empowered beyond their sessions with us and carry those tools into their life outside of the nutrition world as well.
That's great. I think this is such a fascinating field of study, and it's definitely coming. But like you said, it's more of a global thing. And when you talk about the medical or healthcare space in general, it's going to take a while to have this transition. So I think it's great that you're out there and you're helping people know what intuitive eating is, and just embracing their own strengths from their own bodies, so that they can maybe help lead their healthcare providers along the way as well.
Yes, definitely.
For sharing your insight with us, and we appreciate you. And that's all for this month, you guys. We will see you back next month.
Thank you. Take care.